I'm Jerry Getka for the Top of the Morning Show, your host today. And our guest today is someone who's had a very varied background, Varsha Mathur. And you'll find out all about her in just a minute. We'll be right back. Come back and stay with us.
USS Constellation. There's a grand lady in Baltimore who has taken her rightful place as the Inner Harbor's crown jewel in the heart of the Chesapeake Bay. The ship you see here, the sloop of war Constellation, was built at the Gosport Navy Yard in Portsmouth, Virginia, and launched in 1854. A newspaper account from the day of her launch reported that there were 8 pieces of the original frigate Constellation contained within her timbers. So welcome aboard USS Constellation and enjoy your visit to the historic sites of the Chesapeake Bay Gateways Network.
The Top of the Morning Show, and I'm here with our guest today, Varsha Mathur. And you're here representing the Maryland Commission for Women, is that correct?
I am, yes. Thank you for having me.
How did you get involved in that?
Well, last year was my first year. I was appointed in July. And Mac Middleton, our senator locally in Southern Maryland, introduced me to the commission and requested my nomination. And I was thereafter nominated. And also, I knew Darlene Breck, who's also one of our commissioners, and she suggested that I join, and it's been wonderful ever since.
Now, we've had an earlier show where we did an interview with another one of the members, Lynn,
Yes.
and she told us all about the commission. All right, but why did you want to get involved with the commission?
Well, I think it's really wonderful that our community in the state of Maryland recognizes that women issues are still out there and that they are still very important, because even though there has been a lot of development in the equality of women, there are still needs out there that need to be met. And I think that even though we've progressed thus far, we still need to take a very aggressive approach at continuing to recognize the issues that are still there. And so for me to be involved means that I can contribute to that process.
You mentioned equality of women, and it reminds me of a T-shirt that I saw recently. And it effectively said, "Women who seek to be equal to men lack ambition." What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's very quirky and interesting. And there's nothing wrong with joking around about it. But the truth is that it's not about equality comparing to something else. It's really about just making sure that a woman knows that there are resources and opportunities available to get her to where she wants to be, no matter what that may be. And it may be just equal to her grandmother or equal to the president, or it doesn't really matter whether it's man or woman. It's about making sure that a person can go as far as they want to go.
Be the best that you can be.
Exactly.
Now tell us a little about yourself and how you got to this point.
Well, I grew up in Maryland, Southern Maryland, Charles County, and went to school outside of Maryland in New York. I went to college and then law school in Massachusetts, but eventually wanted to come back and be a part of the community that raised me down in Southern Maryland. And so now that I'm back, just really wanting to contribute to the community. I'm an attorney by trade and did a little bit of practice, but am now a business owner in Southern Maryland, where I operate my Dr. Urgent Care.
You're an attorney, but you run your own business.
Yes.
That's very ambitious, I have to admit. And your business is?
It's a walk-in urgent care center. We're open every day 8 to 10, and we see needs that are everything from cuts and bruises to flu, x-rays, stitches.
How did you get from law to healthcare?
Well, I do have a family background in healthcare, just from a family full of doctors and administrative healthcare representatives, and so I always worked in medical offices during the summertime, and I genuinely believe that access to healthcare is really important. And so once you go out in the world and get your education, you see that it's still something that people need, especially women. Access is really important, and so for me to be able to provide a place for healthcare in a community that's underserved is just really important.
You say community underserved. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, Southern Maryland is growing rapidly, but it's still very rural, and healthcare is, again, one of the more growing industries in that neighborhood or in that community, but there's still quite a need for doctors, nurses, and just facilities for people to come to and actually get the healthcare they need.
You mentioned, I want to get into your family. You said they were in healthcare as well, but we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Strong character.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Jerry Getka again. You had mentioned that you had family in healthcare. Does your family work for you in the urgent care center?
Yes and no. My father's an oncologist in Southern Maryland, and so it's his practice that I worked with over the years when I was in college. My mother is actually our lab director at my facility, and she, for so many years has experience in medical care and taught me a lot of the administrative aspect of it, which is great because so much of healthcare has become business, administrative, paperwork, unfortunately. So our facility gives doctors a chance to just do their job, see their patients, and allows us, the company, take care of the HR and the paperwork and all of
Well,
that.
the urgent care centers are a new way of doing business pretty much for the healthcare industry. How did that come about so easily?
Well, I think people are frustrated with the long waits of an ER.
Okay.
Emergency rooms get so crowded, and very often people don't recognize that they don't need to go to the ER. Smaller acute things can be seen at urgent care centers. For example, if your child has a flu and it's 9 p.m. and their pediatrician can't see them, you don't have to wait 3 hours at an ER. You could you could just walk into My Doctor Urgent Care,
Okay.
be seen pretty promptly, and not have to waste some of the resources at an ER.
The healthcare industry is pretty much built off of the insurance industry as well. How does that fit in with the urgent care model?
Well, urgent care can accept all insurances. So, for
Okay.
example, our
I was
facility
worried
does.
because I know a number of people who won't go to an urgent care type center because they figure it doesn't take their insurance. And
Yeah.
I didn't know whether that was true or not.
Well, I don't know about every facility. Our facility accepts all, regular
Okay.
insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, but also
So I
what's
could
great.
go.
You could, absolutely. And what's great is that we're cheaper if you don't have insurance. So the upfront out-of-pocket cash cost.
I don't know if you want to advertise that, but let's go.
Well, I am. It's naturally going to happen because I really do feel that urgent care centers are a great asset to communities because of the fact that it's cheaper.
That's interesting to know, and a good thing for our audience to know. All right, let's go on. You'd mentioned the fact that aside from the community service that you do with the Women's Commission, you're also on a number of other boards and commissions and things as well.
I am, because I am very committed to where I grew up. It's a great place, and so
How can you be so committed? You don't look that old.
I'm starting to get committed, so I should put that out there, that I'm still learning a lot
Okay.
about what's out there and how I can help. So I am involved with, of course, the Chamber of Commerce, where I sit on the executive board there, and we do a lot of events promoting small business. Because like I said, Charles County still is a growing place, and it's becoming more and more of a great place for small businesses because of its untouched resources. And I also sit on the Friends of Hospice board, where we do a lot of fundraising.
What exactly is that?
Hospice is an organization that provides care for end of life.
Okay.
And the Hospice of Charles County just
So
recently
something I
built-
don't think I want to join too quickly.
Well, it's a wonderful organization, and families are very often touched by it and don't even realize it.
I'm certain.
And so they recently built a brand new home for the patients there in Charles County. And so we do a number of fundraising events. For example, March 15th of next year, we're having a farm to table event where local farmers and chefs able to come together, have a cooking and drink making competition that will inevitably raise funds in the form of tickets and sponsorships that can 100% be donated to hospice.
Okay, so you're involved in the Maryland Commission for Women, all of these boards, you own your own business, you're an attorney. Do you sleep at all?
I do.
On that note, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Turns into the 1860s, and you are back in time on the Constellation learning what it was like to be here.
People come on board and they get touched by this walking through history that they're able to do, and they're able to see the hammocks and see the officer's wardroom and sit in the captain's cabin and have this whole immersive experience that you're never going to get at most types of museums. So this is a really wonderful experience for them, and they have no idea what they're missing out on, and then they come on board and they keep coming back.
We fire the cannon, turn the capstan, and ring the bell daily. And we recommend the free self-guided audio tour, which comes in 2 flavors, one perfect for children, the other for adults. Plus, there's the ever-popular Powder Monkey Tour for kids and hands-on adult tours like A Ship as a Machine and Black Sailors in Navy Blue. Groups can also come aboard and sling their hammocks in our overnight program or host special events.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jerry Getka, your host for the Top of the Morning Show, here with Varsha Mathur, and we're talking about the Maryland Commission for Women. I understand they have a number of committees and other activities that they do. Which of those are you most involved in?
Well, this year, being that it's my first, I've started assisting somewhat with our ad hoc governance committee, which is mostly formed for the purpose of restructuring our bylaws and our...
Well, and as an attorney, okay, I see the connection, that works.
Yeah, they're trying to, use my ability to kind of formulate some things, and we have other attorneys on our commission as well, which is great. But our main focus this year has been healthcare. Which is also wonderful because we have a few people on our board that are very knowledgeable of the up-and-coming issues pertaining to some of the changes in law that are going to affect all the families, and especially women, in healthcare. So I do help with the ad hoc committee, but one of our other major committees has been our healthcare committee as well.
The Maryland Commission on Women also deals with the Heritage.
Yes, the Women's
Tell
Heritage
us a
Center.
little bit about that.
The Heritage Center was created in conjunction with some of our commissioners, and it is primarily used as a resource and a facility that provides education, seminars, and events, really sort of focusing on the women of the state who have, persevered, showed resilience, had struggles, and really made a name for themselves in the state of Maryland.
Aside from the Women's Heritage Center, you also have a Women's Hall of Fame.
Yes, it's amazing. If you take a look at our website, you can get a list of who's actually on there. The women are just amazing. There's no other word to say. And we do
they come with phone numbers? No, just kidding.
I'll let you know. So our applications are taken every year for women who have made their name in the state of Maryland by really making an impact, whether it's in the discipline that they're in, education, healthcare, finance, legislature. Anybody who's either been born and raised here or has lived here for at least 15 years. Okay. You can nominate them using the forms on our website.
Here you mean Maryland, not necessarily the studio, right?
Correct. State of Maryland. And so our applications, we're accepting them now for this year's 2014.
And where do they get these applications?
On our website, which is www.marylandwomen.org.
And that'll be running across the bottom of the screen later on, so people will be able to find that.
Yes. And like I said, it's a beautiful event that we have once our nominees have been selected, and they get a chance to be introduced by their nominators, and then also get to speak about their accomplishments.
So it'll be a big party, and I'll be invited.
Absolutely,
Great.
We would love to have you there. And in general, I think it would be very wonderful to see more new faces at all of our Maryland Commission events, especially this Hall of Fame event, and we have a Women of Tomorrow event with young women from high school, elementary school, and their accomplishments are also very humbling and amazing, and it's a great event to come and see and support those women, to show them that.
I had no idea that your reach was so extensive.
The Maryland Commission really makes an effort to act as a liaison between the cities and the counties, and their commissions and be able to pull from there and really represent the state as a whole.
Well, it's interesting to me that you're able to combine both your business side and the type of business that you do now involved in healthcare with the resource side of the Maryland Commission for Women, because you're now talking about educating them in the new healthcare issues.
Yes, very importantly, and that's why the Maryland Commission, during our last year's strategic planning session, decided that healthcare was going to be our focus this year, being that the Obamacare that everyone's calling
Yes.
it is coming into effect. For example, starting October 1st, the health insurance exchange is going to be starting to take applications, and you can...
Well, for those who don't know, explain a little bit about what the health insurance exchange is.
So now that health insurance is going to be mandated, the exchange allows you to shop for the
Okay.
insurances that are going to be subsidized and that are going to be participating with this program. And so starting October 1st, you can actually go online, see what type of insurance program your state's going to be participating in. So for example, Maryland is participating in the state level subsidized programs, and there you can see which companies are going to be the best fit for you. And then starting 2014,
Now,
everybody
for
will be
you,
mandated.
is that the individual you or the companies that are now being forced to supply insurance to their employees?
I'm talking about the individual you,
Okay.
you, the mother, the family, the father, whoever it is that is looking for the insurance.
Great. So it'll be much more easily understood?
Absolutely.
Explained.
And again, please, reach out to our group, the Maryland Commission.
Is there a specific part of the commission they call for this information?
They
and
can
this
call our
resource?
main office and speak to the staff members, and from
And that number will be
there,
running across the bottom of the screen as well.
yes. And from there, they can speak to specific commissioners if it's necessary for them to get more information about it. Or they could be led to the correct website, the correct application form, and all of that.
Thank you. That's a lot of useful information. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
I thought it'd be more for us, the parents, but no, they loved
They
it.
had a good time.
Yeah, they had a great time.
So come aboard USS Constellation, and while you're here in Baltimore, be sure to visit these other attractions of the Chesapeake Bay Gateways Network. The Baltimore Visitor Center, a good place to start your tour of this historic city and region. The National Aquarium on Pier 3 near the USS Constellation Museum. The Lightship Chesapeake and 7-Foot Knoll Lighthouse, both part of the Baltimore Maritime Museum. The Frederick Douglass Isaac Myers Maritime Park and Museum, headquarters of the Living Classrooms Foundation. Fells Point, an early American shipbuilding center, and the Fells Point Maritime Museum. And of course, Fort McHenry National Monument, where the people of Baltimore valiantly defended the city from the British during the War of 1812.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jerry Getka, your host for Top of the Morning. We're here with Varsha Mathur. We've talked about healthcare. We've talked about your career in law. We've talked about your roots in Southern Maryland. Most of us talked about your enthusiasm for women's issues. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you'd like to bring up for our audience?
Well, I really appreciate this opportunity, first of all, and I do think that it's a wonderful way for people to learn about the commission and really know that we're available for the community and for the state of Maryland to use us as a resource for education and for information about women's issues, and be there as a place to really get some help. So one of the reasons that I'm here this afternoon is to make sure that our community and our state knows that the Maryland Commission for Women is designed to be a resource for the community, and we are looking for women to join us who have diverse backgrounds and who have something to add to our group. We have such a wide array of women that have different educational backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, and different interests in various disciplines. And so we are looking for, I believe we have 2 seats open on the commission as of this year. And again, just letting the women of Maryland know that they can reach out to us
And
be
how
involved.
would they apply?
Online. You can find an application online, or of course just give our staff a call at their office as well. That information is all online.
And that number will be running across the bottom of the screen whenever you need it.
Yes. I wanted to invite more people to come out to the Maryland Hall of Fame, Women's Hall of Fame, and also thank McDonough Davis for filming that event for us, among other things, for the last 5 years. It's been an event that I think is very much well attended, and we intend to have it going on for many, many years to come. Similar to that is the Maryland Advocacy and Legislative Agenda for Women.
I'm sure that our producers, Lou and Loretto, McDonough Davis, appreciate that very much, and I know they do because they're waving to me over there. But we know that the Maryland Film Commission was established by the legislature, and you're talking about women's issues at the legislature, and that's called?
The Maryland Legislative Agenda for Women.
All right.
And they are an organization that regularly reviews what's up and coming in the state and federally, and make sure that the information is condensed so that
Are they an advocacy group or a lobbying group or what?
advocacy group, and lobbying in the sense that they do make an effort to make sure that everybody reaches out to their local legislators to make and ensures that their viewpoints are heard, but specifically looking out for women's issues and making sure that they have the support, of course, of the commission, among other organizations throughout the state.
We've talked a lot about your business and what it does and how you got into it, but we haven't told anybody where it is.
So My Doctor Urgent Care, which you can catch on the web at mydocurgentcare.com.
Okay.
It's located in Waldorf, Maryland on St. Patrick's Drive. And like I said, it's open every day from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., even on holidays. We have a fantastic staff, board-certified doctors and physician's assistants, x-ray technicians, and a CLIA-certified lab.
Wow, I'm not quite sure what that means, but it sounds
It means
impressive.
we're clean and a great place to come in. And what I really take a lot of pride in is the fact that when you do walk in, you're not a number. It's not like, you get, here you go, take the paperwork and wait. The staff really does actually care about taking care of you.
And that's important to most people. I know myself, I hate to go to an emergency room because you feel like you're standing there forever and nobody notices you. That has to be one of the advantages of going to one of these urgent care type centers.
It's a much more intimate setting. And then, we also, as a company, take a lot of pride in our culture and find that the more we love each other, the more we can love our patients. And that's really the number one thing on the agenda for us.
Now, Varsha, I have to ask you, you're an attorney, you own your own business, you care for a lot of people, and evidently they care about you, otherwise you wouldn't stay in business. How old are you anyway?
Well,
compared to me, you look like you're a teenager.
Well, I won't tell you my age, but I will say that, I've had a lot of great support, and I've, been able to go through a wonderful education process and had a supportive family. But something that's very important to me and important to my staff is that as a young person developing your career, it's really important to also remember some of the important causes that are out there, being part of your community and being part of things that you want to stand up for example.
Now that's different in today's world of what's in it for me.
Right. Yeah. And, you have to do things that are important to you and to keep you, successful. You need to worry about those things as well. But certain things like the advancement of women, hospice, and, healthcare and access, these things have been passions of mine, and so I really
How
want to
did
encourage
you get to be
young
such a
people.
proponent of all these things? It must come from your mother and your grandmother.
Yes, absolutely. My mom is...
Let's give them a plug.
Yes, my mom is, well, first of all, she's, very much so my backup in my business, so that's been a tremendous help. But also my best friend, and, just having the support of family is always number one. And I like to recognize that also because the Commission for Women recognizes that family is such an important part, and women tend to be the backbone of that, and being able to provide education for them and resources for them really keeps the world going. So,
Well, there's nothing I can say to top or about that at all. So I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. talked quite a bit about your passion for all the things that you're involved in, and we've asked a little bit about how you came to that, and you talked about your mother and your grandmother. My passion, or at least my work ethic, which is what I address most of all, is because of my ethnic background. My mother, my grandmother, I'm of Polish heritage. What is your heritage, and how does that factor into your passions?
It's interesting that you bring that up because my cultural background is from India.
Okay.
My grandfather, my parents are both from India, and my mother was raised here but born there, and my grandfather.
So you're first generation American?
I call myself 1.5,
Okay.
actually. My grandfather immigrated here in the late 50s, and so my mother was brought up here. My father came in the 70s, and predominantly his family is in India still. But I think because of that background, having my grandparents and parents who came from outside of the
Right.
country worked so hard and showed us what that meant to work so hard and get
Now,
us.
did your grandparents speak English immediately, or?
Yes.
Because mine did.
No, yeah, they did. Many students in India learn English as
Okay.
as in their school system. So English has always been, something that everyone speaks very commonly in India. But yeah, just having, a grandfather who worked so hard, parents that worked so hard because they had to start fresh from scratch. And that definitely showed us what it meant to keep going and to work and to get educated. And so my grandfather came to the country to gain his master's degree, and he did architecture. And then my mother and father both are highly educated. As I mentioned before, my father's an oncologist. My brothers and sisters and I were always encouraged to pursue for higher education, as well as our extended family. And again,
Are you part of a large family?
Yes, I have 2 sisters and 1 brother, and that's just the beginning. So, yeah, we are a huge family, and that's really important to me. And like I said, a lot of what I do is because I have the support of my family.
Well, Varsha, it's been really interesting talking to you. You've had a varied background, I must say, especially for someone from Southern Maryland. And I'm really glad you were here. I'm glad to meet you. But now it's time to say goodbye. Sorry.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Bye, everybody.